What's up, guys? This is James Goss with Escaping the Neon. Today I'm going to be talking. I know I have a lot of businesses going on that I'm constantly talking about in the vlog, but I want to break those down, kind of get more in depth with what I'm doing with each one and kind of how it all fits together. And I'd like to do a video on kind of like long term, where I want to be and what I'm, trying to build for. But basically, what I'm going to do in this video is I'm going to break down the commercial renovation company. It's called American Exteriors. I'm going to break down how that started, and where I'm at now, where I'm trying to go. So I'll start off. Basically, I had applied it for a job at American Exteriors like 6-7 years ago, and pretty much I got the job in kind of a sales role. I worked there for maybe like a year and a half, 2 years. And then basically it just wasn't really working out in the sales role. There's a lot of problems. There's also, at the time, there's 3 salesmen there. And I was kind of the understudy of one of them. But anyway, he was retiring. He didn't really give a damn. Anyway, it doesn't matter. I don't want to make any excuses, but, the bottom line was we couldn't really see eye to eye, but as people, Daniel and I, really hit it off. We're on the same wavelength on a lot of things, but it just didn't really work me coming in as a salesman. But anyway, so I came back in some fashion, but anyway, I did leave there, and I went, I worked for Montgomery Parks, which is where the Escaping the Neon, started. Even though, of course, it took me a while to start Escaping the Neon. I'd, worked at the parks for a while. But still, I really, at the same time, I really never stopped working for American Exteriors because, I was always sending them bids. I still talk to Daniel, at least once a week. Always talking business, and I wouldn't necessarily say I was nurturing a business relationship. In all honesty, Daniel and I were like just genuine friends, and we liked each other as people. But we always still were, talking over, business things and, leads and, all that good stuff. And we always did say in those conversations, like, hey, there's no, just because we're not working together right now doesn't mean that we're not going to work together in the future, all this and that. But so anyway, I worked at the parks for a good while. And when I finally decided to leave that job and go be an entrepreneur, literally the same day, like I didn't have anything lined up. I was gonna do the popcorn and make that like my main thing that I'm doing. But basically he called me the day that I left the parks and offered me to come in and be his business partner. Originally was what he said. He said, come in, take the business, take 50% of the business. He's looking to retire. Seems to me like five-ish years. So he's looking for somebody to take the company over. Now, there's a couple things here that I'm going to break down. First of all, at first I thought, well, this is an amazing opportunity. Like, 50% is relatively successful business. It's been in business for 40 years. It's a great thing. I would be a complete idiot not to take this. So originally I was like, well, great. I'm going to like buy in right away, even though he said like, something like, you don't have to buy in at all. Like you just come in, you're 50% owner. But the thing is, neither of us, like, him especially, he came up from a completely, different upbringing. Shouldn't say that, but, we just have completely different life experiences. And I think I'm a little more versed in business maybe than he is. But, it doesn't matter. The point is, neither of us like knew how to buy and sell a company. So basically we both kind of jumped in like, hey, we'll be business partners. I'll, buy in. We don't know how to do this, but let's do it. So I ended up talking to an attorney, and the attorney told me that like, hey, it's not there's no reason for you to buy in, half of this company right now. Tell them you want to have a salary, a good owner salary, and then build the business with him. And then, when he's ready to sell it, then it'll be something worth buying. But like, so, and really, I think that actually makes great sense in the long run. When I left there, I didn't understand. I was like, why would I not want to buy into this business? But, he actually had a really good point. So I'm glad that I went and saw an attorney and, got that advice. But anyway, so, the more I thought about it, I'm like, okay, well, the assets of this company here, the assets of American Exteriors aren't necessarily in Um, equipment. Like, we definitely have some equipment, but there's not that much money in it, right? Like, it's a couple trucks, scaffolding, your general contractor type of equipment. But still, there's not a ton of money in there. It's not like it's millions of dollars. Um, and the real value of the company really lays in the employees and the connections that they built over 40 years. And there's not that many employees. The employees that are there seem like they want to retire really soon. And there's really nothing beyond those employees. As a general contractor, we use subcontractors. We've been using a lot of these same subcontractors, or American Exteriors has been using these same subcontractors for 20 years, something like that. I mean, of course, the guys do other work as well, but they, come to family dinners and whatnot with Daniel. They just have worked together for so long and they have such a good relationship. But still, they're not American Exterior employees. So really, there's not that much value in the company, is really the way that I'm coming into it. They've got a little bit of money in the bank, and they have a couple jobs that are on file that should keep them rolling right along, or should keep us rolling right along for a little while. But the fact is, they were always hurting for work. You're always out there struggling, trying to get work. So basically, he asked me to come in and, of course, if you watch this at all or you know me, I do like 400 different things. I just can't really focus on one business for too long. I feel like I really need to spread it out because I have such a web of ambition that I'm trying to weave together here. So I just can't focus on one business for an entire week, because if I did, I'd let down 4 other businesses that I also think are going to go well at the end of the day. So I was just honest with him, and I was like, dude, we've already tried working together in the past twice. It hasn't worked out. Now you're asking me to come in, be your business partner, and I'm down. I want to help you grow this company, but I don't want to come as a salesman. I don't want to come here as your employee. And I can't be doing the grunt work. I can do sales work, I can do marketing work, but I can't go out into the field, estimate jobs, do any manual labor. You gotta allow me to focus on growing this business into something that's worthwhile. So that's basically where we are right now. Is essentially, I'm on salary now. I'm working there. I'm trying to bring. First thing you want to do was, this is super old school. They're writing all their proposals, handwriting all their proposals, and just because they just don't know, emails are just not that familiar. I mean, I guess that's not true. They are using a little bit of email, but the whole system is a huge clusterfuck. The way that they're currently bidding work. So the biggest thing that Danny wanted to do right off the bat was switch over to basically a better way to bid jobs and have access to all of our files, customers, and all that. So the first thing that we did was we switched over to a Google suite of services. So you get Google Drive, Google Docs, Google Sheets, there's a shitload of things. And so we made that transition. We hired actually a buddy, Digital Polygon, which I'm sure I'll do a video on at some point. But so we hired Johnny. He helped us with the transition because it was really complex with a bunch of shit that was over my head. But he helped us do the transition. And so basically, the next step with American Exteriors really is, I hired some people off of Upwork. So I got videos about that, trying to just find lead generators. So I'm getting these people to generate leads. And then it's just going to be cold calling for me, really, at this point, just to try and generate some business. And, there's so much going on, of course, but there's also a test that, Virginia Class A contractors test. Somehow they lost that, license because somebody, the previous owner died. Daniel didn't realize that he had to have this Virginia Class A contractor license. So anyway, long and short is we got to pass this test to be at least in Virginia. We do have a Maryland business license, but it still makes me nervous. Being in Virginia. and not having that Class A contractor license. So anyway, I hope that that's like a week out. As far as getting that license goes, we're not too far. But that's made me nervous for a while. So, but the long and short is, like, there's not a huge amount of value to this company right now. The real value is, in the connections that they've made over 40 years, and like that they somewhat know subcontractors that are able to do this work, because we definitely don't have the manpower to do it ourselves. So that's kind of the value in it. So kind of where I'm seeing for American Exteriors and what I would like to do, like really long term. Obviously, the first thing, got to get money flowing in, and I think that's going to be from the Upwork. I think that's going to be from the the cold calling. That's another thing. I'm going to go into that real quick. I'm going to be doing live streaming, and so that's going to serve two purposes, I hope. One is going to be that, of course, I'm going to be live streaming, so we'll get, James Goss out there. And, number two, I'll be making cold calls on behalf of American Exteriors. So people will be hearing about American Exteriors because, I'm going to be doing live stream, cold calling, and hopefully people will take to it because, I just think that I can, help people want to go do this. So, anyway, so basically I'm going to take that, and the first thing I got to do with American Exteriors is to generate some sales coming in. But there's a lot of like moves that we're trying to make, and like, first coming in, another thing that I said to Daniel, along with like, hey, I'm going to run my multiple businesses and chase after a lot of different things. Lost my train of thought. That I was gonna, I was really, really interested in real estate. That was the next big move that I really wanted to make, was buying a property. He was 100% down for it, and now, like, we have access to these subcontractors that know how to do good work. And so what I'm saying is, we need to buy a property, whether it's as individuals or as American Exteriors. We need to buy properties. We need to be landlords, because that's just what I see for the future, is holding properties, because we have the ability to rehab them for a relatively low cost, so we can force equity into these properties. And so, that's something long term that I really, really want to get into, even if it's just buying a piece of property, rehabbing it with one of the subs, and then flipping it and selling it, just so you have a little inflow of money. Now, of course, there's a whole lot that goes into that. But I do have a real estate license. I'm a licensed realtor. And, my plan for at least a portion of this is that since I have my real estate license, I'm going to forego commission. I'm going to try and put a deal together. It's probably going to have to be multiple investors because, me and Daniel don't have the money. But if I can get a deal together, I'm going to try and have kind of like my cut of commission just go into the deal instead of me getting any commission. So that's how, I'm going to kind of hopefully be a part of a rehab fix and flip. Anyway, so, that's something that I really, really foresee for American Exteriors, is holding on to properties. And so basically I'm just trying to, find a way to kind of parlay into that. And that's what I'm really working towards. But of course we got to have, if we're going to keep rolling as a company, we got to bring business in. So that means, sales. I got to make some sales. But anyway, so the point is we are going to be getting into some real estate. Even longer term than that, the biggest goal probably that I have in my entire life, in my entire career, is to do rooftop gardens on commercial buildings. I've been trying to do this for an extremely long time. In all honesty, it was probably the first like real big thing that I thought, like, man, like, I need to go after this. And this is like, something I need to do and make a change, for people and myself. So anyway, that's like always my long-term goal, and I think American Exteriors is such a great way to be able to get into, it puts me in the I'm in the middle of the DMV, right? We're doing work on huge commercial buildings. What I'm trying to do is get rooftop gardens on top of commercial buildings in, kind of struggling places. So that's just like the perfect line of work for me to be in, to get closer to that goal, be able to help people. And yeah, so like, I'm super excited about that, and that's really the long-term goal. Like, and as you can hopefully see, I'm trying to like intertwine the different things that I do together. So like, I'm doing the podcast, and I'm going to promote that with live streaming, like business cold calls or business call-ins. Like, if somebody wants to talk about business, I'm going to live stream, take calls, and talk to people about entrepreneurship. The other thing is going to be, I'm going to, do the cold call sale things, where, you know, obviously I'm just live streaming. Now there is a problem there. I'll get into that later because I can't actually record and live stream with people's names in the live stream from the state I'm in. It's actually illegal. So I'm gonna have somebody probably listening a little bit ahead, like an actual radio show, or I'm just gonna have to record it, and then edit it out myself and post it on YouTube later. But the goal is to do live stream. But anyway, that's getting kind of into the weeds. The point is, with American Exteriors, short-term goal is to bring in some sales, bring in some new clients, and just, like I said, the ball is rolling. We got work. We're not like desperate, but like it's wintertime, things are slowing down. We need to bring a little bit of money in. So short-term goal is going to be that. The midterm goal is going to be to buy property and rehab it. That is the midterm goal. And then, the broad, big picture goal is going to be to do the rooftop garden things and really be able to spread that and have American Exteriors kind of be the backbone of that project to bring gardens and, bring health and nutrition, kind of for free somehow. I don't know how that's going to happen. But I'm trying to make this like a free program. So to be honest, I think now I'm getting into the rooftop garden ideas. But the way I see it, why can't you? And there's some people, it's being done there. Rooftop gardens is a thing, but basically, I want to go to these like ritzy, high class, condo places, and I would like to sell gardens to them so that they can harvest and like instead of having to go to the store, or order your food or whatever they're doing. You've got a garden right growing on the rooftop. The building kind of, harvests the vegetables or gets it harvested through my company. And basically they, give the fresh, it's kind of like a CSA, right? For like a, in its own building, or each building has its own CSA basically. But then kind of use any money that I make off of that, just funnel that right back into putting gardens, where they can't really get good food. The people that can afford to put those rooftop gardens on their, roofs and have their fresh produce, they can pay. But the people that can't will just, I think we'll be able to get them. I don't know. There's a lot that goes into it with engineering on the buildings and everything like that. But all things I'm willing to overcome, willing to figure out, because it's being done. So anyway, but yeah, with American Exteriors, that's the goal. And yeah, I'm excited. I'll keep posting, or I don't know if I'm going to post this or what, but I will keep going with American Exteriors, and I'll keep you guys updated. Hopefully we hit all of these goals. Now I'm going to go ahead and start another video with another business that I got going on right now. And yeah, so yeah, if you want to see, I'll go into the popcorn. So if you want to see how that started, you can jump over to the popcorn breakdown, and it'll give you kind of the goals with that. And yeah, so thank you very much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful evening or whatever time. And thank you. This is James Goss with Escaping the Neon. You have a wonderful evening.